The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, folks. My name's Jack Allsop. We will wait an extra couple of minutes. If somebody wouldn't mind just in the chat area or the questions areas telling me they can see the screen and hear me correctly. Yeah, well, we've already had just one customer that says my picture on my screen looks just like me. Thank you. That'll do. Okay, you can stop being cheeky now, fellas. Thanks, guys. We'll just wait another couple of minutes and we'll start. Remember, today's session is with regards to ImageManager Advanced. It's to do with replication from a technical perspective. Okay, anybody's got any sales questions? Sorry, I can't answer them. I have no idea. What's it worth? No idea. But by the end of the session, you should definitely have a good comprehension of the two currently available replication technologies. So wait just one more minute, folks, if you don't mind. Hopefully we won't have any issues today with regards to internet connectivity, even though it is pretty wet here in Brisbane today. It's only wet. We don't have any wind or anything yet, so I just feel sorry for the poor buggers up north that are copping it. Okay, folks, I am going to start. We have a little bit to get through today, and I just, while the going's good, let's get going, I think. Okay. Obviously, using my laptop as the basis today, it's the one I can use quite easily. We are going to also use this particular machine, which is one of my servers here in Brisbane. You can see I'm RDPing to it, and based on that, we have the two available replication technology backends. We will now talk about them. Okay? All right. Of course, we're going to deal with ImageManager and all those sorts of bits and pieces. I currently have a replication job, folks, which I do not intend to break or play with. I can if you want me to, but it's irrelevant. I can set up 2 more. I can replicate 15 times from the same thing. It doesn't matter to me. It's concepts of what we're trying to get across. So if I go down here to agent settings and I go to locations, the two that I'm going to be talking about today is obviously this one here, which is Intelligent FTP. Okay, everybody understands how to set up the Intelligent FTP, so let's go to the server end and make sure. Now on the server end, folks, I use a product called FileZilla, and I use FileZilla because of basically one reason. There's a couple, but FileZilla server is one of the most powerful pieces of software I've ever seen. Okay? Just had somebody say they can't hear any talking. Just 2 seconds, folks. Just confirm. Everybody else can hear me all right, can they? Yep, okay. Yep, sounds fine, okay. Well, I'll leave it at that then, folks, for the moment. Okay, sorry, folks. Just going to move on now, please. We need to just keep going. So here I'm just going to go. The reason I use FileZilla, folks, is where I was starting from. FileZilla is one of the most powerful pieces of FTP software I've ever seen. Powerful in terms of easy to set up, easy to configure, but does its job without missing a beat. Now, folks, you've got to understand something. I am not downloading from this server. I don't care about its download capabilities. I'm concerned about one thing, and that is purely and simply upload. And more importantly, resume on upload. You know, you can muck around with a Windows FTP server and get it to work, sort of. You can use some other products around for sure. They're expensive, hard to configure and set up. FileZilla is simple, folks. This is it. This is the end of the discussion. If I go in here and I go edit and I go to users, and I'll pick on FTP2. So user account I created this morning, I gave it a password, I went to its shared folder and I gave it this particular folder structure. If I click on that folder structure, it has all the permissions, and I said set as home directory. Now, remember this, folks. If I need to control speed limits, I can do it per account through here. Much, much finer control through this than anything else, okay? But at the moment, as you can see, upload speeds, because I don't give a damn about downloads, we're uploading. I've just set it as default and I go okay. Okay? All right, so that's FTP. Let's go across to the FTP, and you can see I set it up. We're using Intelligent FTP. The name is Gateway. I give it the IP address or DNS name. And these three settings here, folks, are on-the-fly settings. The first two are entirely up to you. Security. None, SSL or SSH. Very simple to set up. Very easy to set up. But I ask the question, if you have already encrypted the Shadow Protect backups, why would you worry about security? If somebody was smart enough to capture the transfer of incremental 4,353, what the hell use is it to them? They can't use it. Without the rest, it's useless to them. Okay? It's just a bunch of binary data sitting on oddball sectors. That's it. But some people like to have that, and some companies require it. So definitely set it up on the fly. You want active or passive? You go for it. No problem. We give it a username and password. Now, this is a default setting, folks. And to be totally honest with you, for Australian conditions, it's not the best. So do what I always do and fine-tune your Intelligent FTP. There are a couple of ways of doing it, or you can use a base number that I know will work in 99% of cases in Australia. And I don't care whether it's a gigabit LAN, dark fibre, ADSL 1, you name it, two pieces of string hung between two tins, doesn't matter to me. Based on experience, the block size, change it. Some people think, oh, but I've got a 100 meg connection. I'm going to go up for 128K. Wrong. You will impact performance. The best I've found, the best all-round configuration I've found is 4K. Ours out of North Sydney at the moment is running 2K to get the best transfer speeds. It's not about how good your connection is, it's how good the other end is. Okay? So once I do those sorts of things, I can just go save. That confirms that everything's okay, and away we go. All right? So what I'm going to do is set up an FTP replication job to see what we can see. Okay? All right. Let's go add a replication target. And I'm going to go for Intelligent FTP. And guess what? It gives me two. Okay? Because it's based on not what you call them, but the IP address or qualified domain name. So I'm going to use that one. How do I know that's the correct one? If I just quickly click on here, it says Gateway 2. So, yep, that's the one I want to use. Subdirectory is entirely up to you. It will automatically create that. I don't like the extra things, but that's just me personally, okay? Alright, normally folks, you would not send the base image files. Okay? Logically, you just wouldn't do it. You'd put them on a USB hard drive and do what we call sneakernet. Yes? Courier, whatever. USB hard drive from the source, cross to the destination, then copy them up onto the appropriate folders and away you go. Okay? Sure, that's the way to do it. But for today's exercise, folks, I am just going to untick that box. Okay? But normally you would not do this. Replication mode. Now this is the one part that a lot of people get confused, and I don't care what the replication is. Are you replicating to a folder being consolidated by a second image manager? If I was using local drive replication, I would probably go, yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm just going to replicate everything. Okay? But notice this. Replicate all consolidated files. What the... the first week, it's just going to send those collapsed dailies. And I assume everybody understands the retention processes, the consolidation processes, and all that sort of stuff. Well, basically, replicate all consolidated files. So if you did that across the internet, you're going to first send all the collapsed dailies. Then you're going to send the collapsed weekly on a, 2 minutes into Sunday morning, there's going to be a collapsed daily and a collapsed weekly per volume. And then if you happen to be really unlucky and the end of the month falls on a Saturday, so 2 minutes into Sunday there's going to be a collapsed daily. There won't be a collapsed weekly, but there definitely will be a collapsed monthly. And you just keep replicating stuff across the internet. Why replicate what you've already replicated? Two choices that I think are appropriate. Okay? For people with slower links, okay, replicate only consolidated daily image files. Perfect. Couple of minutes past midnight, consolidation happens, and it verifies that collapsed daily. It says, fine, now I'll just send the collapsed daily. And that's all it'll do. But the assumption is there is an image manager on the other end. Agreed? We go, cool. If you're looking for true disaster recovery for a larger organization, then you are going to send the 30-minute incrementals. I call them 30-minute, 15 minutes every hour, whatever is the understanding, agreement, expectation you have with your customers. They're the intra-dailies. If there's 10 of them, there's 49 of them, whatever. It's up to you, okay? I prefer to send them, but understand this, folks, understand this, that the sum of the incrementals will be larger than the consolidated daily. So let me prove that just very quickly, very easily. We'll go to where my backups are. We'll probably pick my G drive because I've been doing a bit of mucking around in there yesterday with virtual machines. These are all my incrementals from yesterday, totaling, nearly 15 gig. The collapse daily that happened at about, and as you can see there from the CD, from the CM file, oh, good God. The MD5 file at 12:37 a.m., the collapse daily file was 9.14 gig. There is pruning going on, okay? So understand that, little one, and we're comfortable here. So I'm just going to do that, okay? It obviously, in this case, because ImageManager is smart enough to sort it out, and it's going to go, well, I'm going to send the shortest number of files that I can to just then end up sending the intradailies. And we will go save, okay? Path is already managed. Of course it's already managed. So I'll kill that job off, folks. We'll start it again. Intelligent FTP, the second one. I'll take all of that back out again. Whoops. We will untick this, we will tick this, we will do this, and we will go save. Okay? And you can see there it's going to try and send 245 files. We're happy for that. And you can see here, folks, that I am sending those files across at this appropriate speed. Which account am I using? I hope I'm not using the wrong account here. Just 2 seconds. Yeah, Gateway 2. That's cool. Okay. I just hope I don't have any service settings on here. Let me see speed limits. Do I have any speed limits? No limits, no limits. That's cool. And go to the user. Speed limits. None. Okay. So you can see that that file's being transferred across. If I go into here, this is where they're being stored. Two things of note, folks. Okay. Temporary extension that will not get removed until such time as the file has been verified after the transfer. Okay. The second file is there. I'm going to leave alone for the moment. Okay. Now, just a few things. We can do this two ways, folks, whichever way you would like me to do this. I could just kick the user, or I could actually kick the service. So we might hit the service and see what it's got to say. Okay. So if I go to the service, and we're going to go for FileZilla, because that's what I will do to the other one, to be fair and reasonable. Let's just go stop. Okay. It will take, and at this point it can take up to about 30 seconds. It realizes the connection's already broken, but it's just going to take a few minutes for it to sort of sort itself out and go, yes, it's definitely broken, because it's doing numerous retries at this stage. But you see how long it took to realize it was broken? Cool. Let's now do the right thing. Let's start that service back up again. Okay. We're logged in. We're waiting for authentication. And anywhere within the next 15 minutes, this thing is going to work it out and go, fine, it's back up, let's go. But I don't want to wait that long, folks. If you don't mind, I'm just going to force it to do it. Okay. But more importantly, what I want you to do is to come back across over to here and notice this. If I make this full size, it will be easier for you to see. Connection accepted, restarting at offset. Okay. Immediately, it knows exactly the point that the replication broke and can resume straight away. Okay? Very swift, very efficient. All right. I'm just going to minimize that one, folks. And I will kill this off, because we don't want it at the moment. Let's now set up the ShadowStream one, shall we? So, over here, we're going to snap into here. We will go admin connect. We need to type in the password. All right, we are connected. Notice here, if I go about, it's telling me it's version 6. Okay, notice there are only the two ports, the administration port. This is ShadowStream 2, folks. Okay, no longer will we refer to that thing called ShadowStream 1. I'm just going through the technologies first, and then I'll tell you the best approaches to both of them. All right. So, control port is this. Perfect. Okay. All you need to open, folks, is that port UDP. Understand, it is not TCP. I'll go into it a little bit more in a bit of detail after I set up the basics, all right? Oh, you go to users. I created a user called SST. Perfect. It's got a password. Wonderful. If you want to enforce a rate here, you tick this box and you change this to whatever it is you prefer to put in there, okay? But I'm not going to enforce a rate. I'm just going to leave it alone. I then came over to here and I created a share, and you can see the path to that share. Okay, I'm going to click on permissions to that share. It is a user share. Admin has no rights. SST has all the rights. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, you can also then click on here and you can go browse the share as a user. Okay, so we're using these account this account information to make sure that we can physically get to this location. This is the server on this side. This is the appropriate. Okay. So I will close the browse off. We will go down to here. We will go to ShadowStream. We will take that because we don't want that there at the moment. And we will minimize this. We will minimize this. This is ShadowStream 2, folks. Old ShadowStream 1, or Legacy ShadowStream as we called it, used to have this funny little situation where you would hit control port or transfer port of 4565, and it would send you up to the parallel ports of 54363, and then we would open up 8 ports on the complicated already. Certainly was. ShadowStream 2, folks, purely and simply asks you to open up a UDP port. What we're using is UDT over UDP. So first thing we're going to do is check that my credential structure is correct, because it'd be rather embarrassing if that failed on us, wouldn't it? So here it is, ShadowStream server. I'm not using Legacy. That's the UDP port that I need to have open. The share is that's all case sensitive and all that sort of stuff. The username and password is correct, we hope, and if I go save, it should allow me in. Yes, so we go save. Alright, a little bit of information about this, folks, so that you can deal with a couple of issues, okay? Potential issues. Alright, just so you're aware. This is just a simple web page that I just bring up to show people what is UDT. And if you basically read it here, reliable UDP-based application level data transport for distributed data intensive applications. UDT uses UDP to transfer bulk data with its own reliability control, congestion control mechanisms. Wonderful. Okay. So yes, that is the new wave of the future, UDT. Couple of potential problems. By the way, folks, and if you have a look down here, key features, it's fast, sure. Fair and friendly, certainly. Easy to use, certainly. Highly configurable, yes. Firewall friendly. I'm just going to show you this page here, folks, as most switches and routers today will struggle with this. And it is purely and simply called traffic storm control. A lot of the good quality switches, I just happen to pick on Cisco today, folks. I could pick on, the HP ProCurve series. I could pick on anything you wanted me to pick on. But the problem is that a lot of the newer switches and routers take one look at this type of traffic that the UDT can introduce and starts calling that storm control, and will start to automatically either block or throttle. So you just need to take this into account. It's just called storm control. Alright, having said all of that, let's move on, folks. Let us now take ShadowStream, whether it's ShadowStream Legacy or ShadowStream 2. Basically, at the moment it's using the same license, okay? But they won't sell you ShadowStream Legacy stuff anymore. Okay, so if I go back here to Agent Settings and I was to go to Locations and I was to go Add, you will see this one down here called StorageCraft Legacy ShadowStream. That's the old system. It is going. That is the current one. Okay? Alright, so let's set this up, folks, shall we? Let's go for ShadowStream. Let us pick that place. Again, the simple equation here, folks, you shouldn't really replicate your base image files unless you've got, a gigabit connection between site A and site B. USB them across. Sneakernet, call it what you like, that's fine. I will be replicating my base image files today just so you can get an idea. Compress and encrypt these two features here, but in ShadowStream 2, totally unnecessary. Doesn't achieve anything by any stretch of the imagination if you tick either of those, if they were already compressed and encrypted. And again, the same thing. I'm setting an incremental. If somebody's capturing that incremental, it's no damn good to them, is it? Okay. So we'll go back to replication mode here, folks, and I'll pick the same boxes I picked for FTP, and I will go save. Okay. 248 files it's going to send, sure. We go over here, and if I open up ShadowStream, I can't see transfer rates, so I'll do what I did before. I'll just open up Task Manager, and I'll go for performance. Okay. You can look at that, folks, and basically divide it by 10 to get megabytes, not bits. But, it's 27, 28, 30, 31 megasecond. Okay. Everyone comfortable with this? So let's do the same nasty thing that we did to ShadowStream. The same nasty thing that we did to FTP as we're about to do to ShadowStream. So we're going to go to Services. Here's the ShadowStream server. Okay. And we're going to go kill. Not because we don't like it, we just want to see what happens. I will answer questions very shortly, folks. Lost video. Sorry about that, folks. I thought the screen... Can everybody else still see the screen all right, folks? Just a couple of quick yays, please. Cool. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much. Okay. You'll notice here that this thing has failed, all right? If I go over to here, and it should fail, the old version, folks, of ShadowStream used to take forever to realize that that connection had broken. Now, if I start this connection up, okay, the other issue with the old version of ShadowStream, and it was a recognized problem, it used to take forever to work out where the hell where it had failed, and then when you went and did this, and I'm forcing it to go back, I don't have to. By default, every 15 minutes it's just going to work it out and keep going. But if I click on there and force it to go, okay, see how it's fairly quick and working out now where it was up to, and we'll just continue to send traffic. So if I click on here again, it's sort of at 32, 33 meg. Okay, if you prefer these numbers, 300, 281, whatever megabits. I prefer the megabytes myself. Okay. It's actually behaving very well today, which is good. Very well. But the one thing you can see, folks, is this number is far from consistent. It is fairly erratic, up and down and up and down. And I'm ignoring any other network traffic between these two machines, folks, but you can see basically, that it's up and down like a bit of a yo-yo. Okay? All right. And again, if I click into the folder where the files are being backed up to, so this is ShadowStream 2, we go in here, okay, and you see it has also a temporary extension. That temporary extension will not get removed until such time as that file passes verification. Is that comfortable with that? All right. So let me just, we can leave it work for a while. It won't really matter. Okay, let's go back over here. Just excuse me. This is the source machine, folks. And as everybody should know by now, my recommendation, run ImageManager processing work each day out. The default's midnight. Please get it off midnight. A couple of minutes past midnight, 5 minutes past midnight. In the past, in this situation where I have a local site and this machine represents my remote site, okay, in the past we used to say, to make things look the same on both ends eventually, you know, in version 6.0 of ImageManager, we used to say, 11:45 and all that sort of rubbish. No longer. You don't need to do it, folks. And why do you not need to do it? I've got both of these ImageManagers set at, like 12, a couple of minutes past midnight, 3-4 minutes past whatever. Why do I not need to do it? Because of this file. Okay. See this file? You'll notice, and we're going to open up, it just says .remote. That's all it says. Look at the timestamp on that file. Okay, and I'm going to open it up with good old Notepad. Why not? Today'd be nice. Keep using Notepad. There's nothing in it. And it's irrelevant what's in it. What is relevant, folks, is this, date and timestamp. So at 3 minutes past midnight tonight, the data center ImageManager, if it was managing, and it should be obviously managing this folder, if it was managing this particular folder, it's going to look at this folder and it's going to go, okay, I am going to do verification. And let me just quickly open up. I've logged in as the wrong user here, but that doesn't matter. We can always get around this. There's always more than one way to skin a cat, surely. Okay. Play hard to get. Don't care. Folks, just give me 2 secs while I fire off something. It's not the quickest machine in captivity, folks, and I apologize for that, but if the ImageManager on this machine was managing this particular folder come 3 minutes past midnight, what's it going to do? It will do everything except consolidation. Why will it not do consolidation? It will defer consolidation for 24 hours because that file exists. Okay? It's managing another folder here, folks, so we shan't stress too much about that at the moment. I'm not interested in what it's managing. But look at this. Really running like a ragged dog, isn't it? 4 minutes past midnight, yes? Okay. So at 4 minutes past midnight, it would look at that particular folder, which is not the one we're replicating to, but it's the same thing. It would look at that folder and it would go, hang on a minute. That .remote file exists at 4 minutes past midnight. It will look and say that file there is less than 24 hours old, therefore I will do. What will it do, folks? It will do verification. It will do retention. If there's anything to do with retention, it will not do consolidation. It will refuse point blank to do consolidation. Why? Because it says you may not have finished completing the replication. So if you see a server one night, a managed folder I should say, excuse me, if I see a managed folder one night that hasn't been consolidated, and I go, why? You can look in the log file and it'll say remote file consolidation has not been done. Why? Because this file existed. Okay? That is to prevent what us humans consider to be files consolidated out of turn, you know? Instead of the Saturday's collapse daily being there, it doesn't get there till Sunday, so then we've got a collapse weekly that doesn't include an appropriate file, and the numbers come all out of whack, and as humans we get a little upset with that for some reason. ImageManager really doesn't care, but this is to stop that whole problem, folks. Okay? And in this particular case, that file will be updated, because to replicate my files across this machine could take a while, and you'll probably find that at midnight tonight, or just after midnight tonight, it'll say to this file, well, guess what, I'm going to update you because it's going to be another 24 hours. So there will be no consolidation happen on this folder for probably 2 days. But that's cool. There's nothing broken. Doesn't mean that you got a problem. It just means that ImageManager is trying to help you because of that file. Okay? And that's what it's trying to do. All right. Now, next thing. We've discussed the 2 types of replication. Okay? The decision now is which one should we use. And I am not going to bring cost at all into this. Ask the salespeople. I do believe FTP is significantly cheaper than the ShadowStream, but that's as much as I'm going to say about that. The first question I would always ask is this pure question here. And I'm just simply going to go, I just want to get a few there, folks. We'll open up another one. So I'll see if I can find somewhere else that's a bit. And we'll go Control-C on that one. And this one here I'm going to go Google's DNS service, folks. Okay? And that's cool. Okay? Now, the simple equation comes down to which one should I use, what should we recommend? Yeah, a whole bunch of issues. Okay? The simple fact of the matter, if we look at both of these, and what the Americans refer to it as something else, but I purely and simply refer to 2 things. One's called latency, and the other one's called lost packets. So, from point A to point B, if I ping, or ICMP, or whatever you choose to use to give me the same result, but ping is a very good one, okay? Internet Control Message Protocol, ping. If you look at the left-hand one here, it's pinging the gateway server, which we've been replicating and still replicating to at the moment, folks. And I see my response time, okay, is less than 1 millisecond. But a TTL of 128, which is default. Okay, these days it's pretty default on a LAN. Notice over here, however, this ping times are averaging 16 milliseconds. We got one up to 61 milliseconds. And the TTL is basically 54. So I can go through 128 hops before my TTL is 0 and I don't get any further. This one can go through 54 hops. And by hops, folks, I'm talking about a router here. 54 routers before this packet would get lost. Yes? Okay. The simple fact is, once a TTL hits around about the 100 milliseconds, okay, sorry, wrong words. Once the response time hits 100 milliseconds, not the TTL, once I hit 100 milliseconds, which neither of these 2 have got anywhere near it, this one's less than 1 and this one's about 16, there's an 18 and there's a 61. Once I hit 100 millisecond response time, it is starting to be in the category I should consider ShadowStream. The other one is if I start to get lost packets. So in the ping process here, if I was losing greater than 10% of my packets, like a 10% loss, okay, I really should consider ShadowStream. But if it is less than 100 milliseconds and I have, one drop packet in a blue moon, all right, the odd dropped packet, I don't really care which one you use. It's entirely up to you. Okay? Fine-tuned intelligent FTP on those ADSL links that are really poor, like 200 upload. Okay? Fine-tune your FTP works really, really well. But start looking at your ping times, start looking at lost packets. And really you should, do this over 100 packets so you get some sort of an idea. I just did a short one here so you can get a picture. Less than 1 millisecond, no lost packets, then I don't care which one you use. It's entirely up to you which one's easier to manage, which one deals with a lot more connections than the other. Okay, and that's the final comment that I will make today. If I go back across to this machine, okay, I'm not interested in that. What I am interested in, however, is this. ShadowStream 2. When you do the install of ShadowStream 2, if it detects that the system is a 64-bit system, and this is a Windows 2012 box, folks, okay, if it detects it is a 64-bit system, it will automatically install into here, 64-bit. Now, 64-bit obviously is going to give me a better experience than a 32-bit one, okay, because of memory management and all those other bits and pieces of issues. But ShadowStream 2 will, by default, if it's 64-bit operating system, we'll stick it in as a 64-bit system. And then you can come down here and, okay, that's a ShadowStream database for user accounts and those sorts of things. And this is the actual ShadowStream, the ShadowStream server log file, so you can actually have a look at some of the incoming information about what's going on. Yes? There is a way of turning on detailed logging for this, which is purely and simply, and I guess a bit of a troubleshooting thing if you want it. Simply go to the registry. Poor little machine struggling, folks. But that's okay. Helps if you go to the right part of the registry, doesn't it, folks? Make you wait. Good thing it's Friday is all I can say. Yeah. Is it StorageCraft ShadowStream? There she be. Folks, if you want more detailed logging for StorageCraft ShadowStream server, you simply come in here, you type in a regd word, okay? It's called detail logging. Pump the button, and hex and decimal for this number is the same, but I always put it in decimal so there can be no confusion. And I just go like that, detailed logging number 6. Restart the ShadowStream service, and you get a lot more detailed logging. Support people will quite often ask you to turn that on, folks. All right. Have I covered everything? I've covered the ports. I've covered everything else. All right. I think, folks, what we'll now do is how about we open it up for questions. And there's a couple of questions here, folks. So just bear with me. Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to try to answer this question. If you just bear with me for a second, I'll see if I've got it right. I'm just going to pause that. Okay. And then if I try to do it while it was running, it would probably tell me to go away. But I'm going to go back over here. And are we in ShadowStream? Yes, we are. I'm going to take that file there, and I'm going to be nasty. Would you permanently like to delete this file? Yes, that's where you get the baseball bat out and say, what the heck are you doing, Mr. Junior Engineer? Okay. So now I'm just going to go and I'm going to start this back off again. It's going to sit there for a few minutes, going to go, excuse me. And it's going to start from scratch. It's going to go, okay, I can deal with you. You're stupid, but I can deal with you. Okay. So that's fine. If you try to do it while I was doing it, it probably wouldn't work for you very well. Just got to roll back through a couple of these here, folks. I'm pretty sure there was a couple back earlier. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Oh, God. I hate this. Just bear with me for 2 seconds, folks. Sorry. This question area and this little thing is a bit... There's a question here that I think is valid. The gentleman who's watching from Rockhampton, yes, sir, understand you're in the middle of a cyclone. You are missing bits and pieces of this, but it will be on YouTube later. In about a couple of weeks' time, we'll get it out to you. Okay, so that's cool. And I hope you're surviving fine. That's my biggest concern for you guys. Where can I get the recording of the last week's sessions? Not up on YouTube yet. It will be in a couple of weeks. What would happen if the file was deleted? We've dealt with that one. What's this one? Would that be recreated by ImageManager? Absolutely. Yeah, we dealt with that one. It's just a couple hidden in amongst all this, folks. Yes. Okay, good question, this one here. I'm just going to leave this at the moment. Does ImageManager run in the background as a service when the GUI is closed? I would personally always say close the damn GUI. It runs as a background service. You do not need to keep it open. The more you keep it open, the more potential there is for memory usage. So, you know, I just sort of close it down. Okay? So it always runs as a background service. I don't even want to get in there. I mean, our servers in North Sydney, nobody looks at it from day one onwards. We just replicate, okay? So, yeah, background service is cool. This one here is a good one. So I'm going to have to open up ImageManager again, folks. Sorry. But a question's been asked here. Can you please explain again why you would amend the block size for Intelligent FTP? That's cool. I'm going to kill that off because I don't want that. And I'm going to kill that off. And I'm going to go back to my original one. No, I am going to use Intelligent FTP to this one here. Okay? I'm going to replicate base image files. Whoops. We'll tick that box. We'll go back here. We'll open this up. I can't remember off the top of my head. It should be 64365 or something like that. So 1024 multiplied by 64 gives me 65.3. Yeah, you can see the number as well as I can. 65.536, and I'm going to go save. Lauren, this is a question you've asked me. Okay. So that's the default. Some people pump it up. Okay, we'll just confirm with the calculator. Yeah, that's cool. My brain's a bit mushed today. Okay, I'm going to go save. And I'm going to go save so that it starts pumping those files across. I'm going to go to the gateway. Okay. And we are now pumping into this location. And I'm going to open up FileZilla. Okay. Please remember I am on a LAN. Okay. The server and my laptop are about 10 feet apart. Okay. You'll notice the transfer speed that I am transferring at. Okay. All right. So let's just have a stab at it. Let's say between, it's going up and down a little bit. It's all over the shop. Give it a couple of minutes to stabilize. Okay. I think the easiest way here to demonstrate this much clearer if my server will respond. Okay, what I'm going to do is just open this up and I'm going to change this down and I'm going to start at 1024. Whoops, that's not quite right, Jack. 1024, okay? Block size, buffer size, think about it if you will as TCPIP packet structures within the TCPIP sliding window. A bit of a mouthful, I know, but I prefer to say buffer size. So I'm now down to 1K and I'm just going to go save. Okay. All right. I'll open up Task Manager on this end just so we can actually get some understanding. Okay. I'm sending. Okay. See how it's up and down and all over the place like a rash? Hopefully I can get back into the server here. No, she's gone to never land on me, folks. I thought it might today, but that's okay. See here how my sending speed, because that's what I'm sending at. Okay, see how it's up and down and all over the shop? Okay, it's not very consistent. It's just, well, you can see the ups and downs. It's horrible. Okay. Don't expect a perfect response here today because obviously this crappy server I'm using is struggling with things, but sorry. What I normally do is double. Okay, so I'm going to go to 2048, that's 2K, and I'll go save again. All right. And we go back over here, and what effect does that have? You need to give it a couple of minutes to stabilize. Okay. And don't expect a quick stabilization here at the moment, but what I'll ask is purely and simply, see these peaks and troughs? Are they starting to become a little bit flatter, a little bit more even? I would say at this particular point, probably not. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go back to what I think is the best. And this best is based on, that's not what I want. It's based on a lot of experience because I do a lot of professional services. Okay, and even LANs, gigabit LANs, even, dark fiber and all sorts of bits and pieces. Okay. You just watch it stabilize, particularly if you can get to the server end, which I'm struggling to get to at the moment because the server, it's not the best server in the wide world. I thought it would hold it together for today's demonstration. But generally here you can see that I'm not getting as blatant up and down. The troughs are getting wider. So it is starting to stabilize a little bit better. Okay? And basically what I found, a classic example if I may, was a customer in Western Australia on ShadowStream could not for the love of anything, get a file to transfer from one site to another, just a collapse daily. In a week, it would not shift one collapse daily. By fine-tuning intelligent FTP, and again in his circumstance we came down to 4096, and by watching both ends I was able to have a look at it and get it working out. We transferred the collapse daily files in one night, okay, because of its ability to handle more openly the way that the routers and modems and all that sort of stuff want to deal with things. So you can see here that I'm not getting these huge, very close together spikes anymore. It's starting to become a lot broader apart. I'm sure I'm still getting some peaks and troughs, but they're not as compressed as they used to be. They're a bit further apart, so it's a lot more stable. The server will like that as well. I hope that explains the situation for you. Just going to kill this off, folks, if you don't mind. Cool. All right. Nearly out of time. Yep, so. Okay. Question's been asked here, what performance improvements would we expect with SS2 over SSS Legacy? SS2 is not a bandwidth hog like SS Legacy was. SS2 will work out much quicker that the link is down. SS2 will work out when the link comes back up much quicker where it left off. And all things being equal, and I say this, and I want you to understand the UDT transfer, I want you to understand storm control, all things being equal, ShadowStream 2 will match, should match Intelligent FTP. But if there are high latency links, and I mean over 100 milliseconds, and lost packets, ShadowStream should start to definitely outperform Intelligent FTP. Okay? And currently at the moment, if you want to go from ShadowStream to ShadowStream 2 with your licensing, it's the same license, so you just go for it. But please be aware that if you have any switches or routers that have storm control on them, you could run into a few issues, and just keep that in the back of your mind. That's all I'm going to say about that one. Question here from somebody who says, so replication with FileZilla is highly recommended only between sites. If I've got site A and site B, and for example, I've got a couple of customers who've got basically a LAN between their two sites, and they want to replicate from the production site to the other site just for some insurance purposes. I would definitely still use FileZilla. FileZilla, in my opinion, don't use, what's it called in here? I can't remember now. Network drive. That's UNC path within Windows. Now, UNC path within Windows has a bit of a problem in so much that large files it struggles with, whereas FileZilla doesn't. So yes, I would definitely recommend you use FileZilla. I highly recommend it. Okay. Just to read this question. I'm going to read this question, and I'm going to leave out some bits and pieces so that we keep it totally anonymous. Currently using ShadowStream to replicate from point A to point B. had to create a batch file on the source side to restart ImageManager every 2 hours. Time chosen is arbitrary. Yes, could be, whatever, doesn't matter. When it fails, the 15-minute auto restart you mentioned does not work. The only way to have it restart is to restart the ImageManager service. If you're running ImageManager 6.5.4 and above, the auto restart did work. However, and I do say this very simply and honestly, ShadowStream 1's major problem was it could take, if that link went down for whatever reason, that it just requires a telco to do a reset, which they do quite often because of people using torrents. Okay, they send the resets down the links to sort of break all of that stuff up so they get some of their bandwidth back. Well, ShadowStream 1 could take anything up to 40 minutes to work out where the hell it got to. And that's why you've had to implement that particular script. And yeah, clever way of dealing with it. However, not necessary if you use Intelligent FTP or ShadowStream 2. And particularly going from one continent to another, which is what you're actually asking here, I would be investigating very strongly via your account manager with a bit of a technical session if you prefer. Let us show you what FTP can actually do. In your case, I think you would be pleasantly surprised. Okay. Just final check here, folks. Gentleman's asked a question here. Any word on if ImageManager replication will have the ability to restrict speed on specific days rather than Monday to Friday and Saturday to Sunday? Did my server come back? No, it didn't. Bugger. I would be inclined to investigate the ability inside of FileZilla, for example, the ability to put those speed limits in for an individual account, sir. Far more accurate, far more reliable, and works very well. Final question, folks, that I will answer right now. Getting asked questions about when the videos are released on YouTube, will we be sent those links? Absolutely. Once I get them to Sydney and we obviously dress them up, not dress them, but take out some of the bits and pieces and links and whatever else, some of the questions in the end particularly, perhaps maybe, we will send to the list of people registered for this particular show, I shouldn't say that, this particular session, we will send the links to those people and say, there you go, folks, enjoy. Okay? All right, folks, at that point, if you don't mind, it is now the hour's up. I certainly hope you have got something out of this today. If you have any questions whatsoever, please contact your account managers and or support. Okay? Your account manager in particular, if you'd like to get more of a technical discussion going with your company around the differences, what personally, some people may think of the products, but by all means, talk to us. Let us know you've got a particular concern, particular issue. Let us see if we can help you out. But I certainly hope after today's session you have a far better understanding of the two technologies we're using today, Intelligent FTP, which is tried and proven, and ShadowStream 2, which is fairly new off the block, has some potential, and we're getting more and more runs under the belt as we go at the moment. So, folks, at that point, I am going to say thank you very much for giving me your attention today, your time. For those who might be in Central Queensland, please batter down and stay safe. For everyone else, have a great weekend, folks. Thank you kindly. Bye.